their team and actually do it.
Well, we'll have to see if they can do that as we head into Champion Select for game number 1 of this best-of-3 series between Vici and LGD. And so far, the bans have already gone underway. It's going to be Fizz and Alistar coming out from Vici here, whereas Azir and Vladimir will be the bans from LGD. Vlad, you know, still seeing a couple of bans here and there.
Yeah, look,
they know something we don't.
Vladimir is not that bad of a champion, especially when we're on 6.10, because he was fixed a little bit so that he didn't take as much damage from himself. Because, you know, that helps. But the Azir ban with it makes sense. I think the Fizz in particular is from Marin as well as Punished. They can both play it. Too strong of a flex at the moment, needs to be taken off.
Well, this is Spring Split. The Alistar ban would be a very common ban that we would see. It was 100% picked and banned for most of that split. But now he's fallen off a little bit. Still banned out in this game as Lucian and Rise will be the final bans coming out from Vici and LGD. And just as I say that, Kindred will be locked in as the first pick for Vici.
Yeah, looking at that Kindred, I'm not even sure if it's taking it away from Amy, because if it is, that's arguably too much respect given. There's still, of course, going to be options available for LGD, but I do rate Kindred highly, just not on LGD's team.
LGD, in the meantime, they've picked up Echo for themselves up in the top lane. They're going to follow that up one with Bard. He's sent down into bottom lane for you here, so already locking in their top lane and support.
It's actually a very strong draft thus far from LGD. The Bard can get around the map very handily and can actually impact the 2v2, maybe even look to have a kill threat lane and win that one. Gives an engage option as well as a bit of sustain and unlocks your team for cheeky Baron attempts and what have you, dependent on the Drakes that are taken. The Echo as well, just so strong still at the moment. On
the flip side, Vici, they've locked in Victor, the other S-tier control mage in the current meta, tied up with Azir, so to speak. We see a lot of Azir versus Victor matchups here. So, LG, we're going to have to see what mid laner they throw at this control mage. But for now, Vici still looking to pick up their second pick in their second rotation. We'll have to see what that one is going to be. For now, hovering over the Karma, who's made a little bit of a surge back into competitive play, and they lock that in.
Yeah, I quite like the Karma at the moment. You don't necessarily need the Sivir with it, but put them together and everybody moves quickly. In situations like that, I'd say EasyHoon perhaps wouldn't even need the Ghost, which would indicate to me they don't necessarily want the Sivir or will prioritize it too highly, unless maybe more inclined towards the likes of Ezreal in the next rotation of their draft. But Karma quite strong, and so is Victor.
Well, makes sense to me. Endless and Caveman, very famously known for pushing out waves, going back to the turrets, waiting and doing the same thing all over and over again. Karma does well for that. On the flip side, LGD, they've locked in Swain up in the top lane. The top lane pick that has surprised quite a few people here, and Rek'Sai is returning into the jungle once again.
Yeah, Rek'Sai, something we said earlier that might be a necessity for LGD. Some early gank pressure, an extra tank in the roster, and I think Amy will feel a lot more comfortable with that in the back pocket. Swain, just what a champion, really. At the moment, it looks like Punished is going to be playing it in that middle lane. We've seen it in both roles, however, as we have with Echo, and we'll see which ones they prefer.
Well, let's see where LGD decides to send these two champions. Vici, however, they've completed their lineup, locking Ezreal like you mentioned, and Trundle is going to be their final pick coming into this game.
Yeah, so they rounded out with a Trundle that is quite capable of being a strong side lane threat. Also very handily deals with Swain as we get to like the 2-item mark. But up until that stage, if they lane against one another, Swain should do a lot of work. The Ezreal, as expected, I already said why. Pretty good, pretty safe.
And first like LGD looking to lock in their 80 carry pick. They already got Bard in the bottom lane. So far, Imp hovering over Sivir. Definitely could be a champion that he play.
Sivir or Twitch, I suppose, but you want to have perhaps a little bit more kite from the Trundle and Kindred. And Sivir, with the availability of a spell shield, does make sense. Caitlyn always an option, but I do think Sivir's probably the ideal.
And that should be the lock in here coming from LGD. Imp, hands off the keyboard, just letting the timer run out. And that will round out LGD's team comp, sending Sivir in the bottom lane with Bard.
Yeah, so Sivir Bard, bottom lane duo. Very hard to kill the Sivir, and Bard can be offensive. Not that it's easy to deal with the Karma, nor the Ezreal poke. So heavy hitting bottom lanes as the 2v2 progresses forward. EasyHoon not running a defensive summoner spell per se with the Ghost and the Flash against Punish on Swain is actually dangerous. You would almost imagine he wants Cleanse or even a barrier, perhaps even Teleport.
And we've seen that a lot on Victor so far. Since Ghost got changed a little bit, you know, buffing it up a lot more now. A lot of Victors have been picking up Ghost in the mid lane.
And it's a lot of move speed, I think it's safe to say. It helps you get around the map quicker, but we've also discussed the idea of teleport gets you to a side lane quicker. So what it means is the pressure from Dandy is probably going mid lane.
And on the flip side, LGD, you mentioned as well, Punish is going to be the man picking up Swain in the mid lane. Myron will still be playing Echo up into the top lane. So, surprises me a little bit just because, you know, we see a lot of Swains do really well against Trundles up top.
Yeah, it also means, like, to be fair, I don't think Echo do too well against the Victor early either, so they kind of don't need to do that. And they also want that extra added tank in the roster to bolster their strength as a team fight.
Well, we're going to head into game number 1 between Vici and LGD. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right into it. So unfortunately, we have a little bit of a technical difficulty. One of the players has paused the game right off the bat here, but we should be able to solve that as soon as possible and get back onto Summoner's Rift. For now, just waiting to see what's going to happen. Just waiting to see which player here has had a technical difficulty and how we're going to be able to fix that. But, Rusty, team comps have been locked in. What looks good for these two teams? What are they going to try and do right off the bat?
So I am a big fan of the Swain, but I'm also a big fan of the counter pick of Trundle, which means I'm looking more towards a team fight potential option. If you were Vici Gaming, to look at their team fighting, it's a little bit lacking in the way of engage. And so the best case scenario for Vici is actually to have LGD run at them. Remember, Kindred, Karma, Trundle, there's no stuns there. Like, there's a pillar to kind of put you out of position, and they're more reliant on all-in burst, which to me, Vici now going to have to be vision heavy. They're going to have to play the map carefully and try and run LGD around the map. But if they find an advantage around an objective, Dragon, Baron, force LGD to walk towards it, that's where the team fight goes the best for Vici Gaming. Up until that point, they can just have the Trundle sit in the side lane and be a menace.
So what are we looking coming from LGD? Because obviously they wouldn't want to run head-on into Vici, especially with that lineup. What are their ways to start off this game?
So funnily enough, they do want to run head into Vici because that's what they're designed to do, right? Bard's got the Tempered Fate, Siva's got the ultimate. They're actually just going to run at them but try and catch Vici off guard. So whilst I'm looking at this, I'm saying that LGD are tanky enough to almost compensate for Vici's damage. If Vici get a kill before it starts, perhaps it doesn't look too great. But if LGD can get into the fight and have a standard 5v5, they have a crowd control advantage by leaps and bounds. And you find that, once again, vision is actually the primary feature that sets them up the best here for success.
Well, we have loaded onto Summoner's Rift. The pause has been unpaused. Technical difficulties have been solved here, as Vici will be taking on LGD in game number 1 of this best of 3 series. We take a look at the Keystone Masteries very quickly. Nothing too surprising from these teams. Deathfire touch on the Victor instead of Thunderlords. And then we have a Fervor of Battle on the Echo up in the top lane.
Yeah, Fervor of Battle actually a standard at the moment, and there's been some discussions on why that is in comparison to perhaps Grasp of the Dying. Remember, Grasp uses your maximum health to deal a percentage of damage to them and restore some of your max health. Echo goes tank, yet they're going for Fervor. So the only real consensus that I've had so far is you're kind of a mid-game split pusher as a compensation for it. As LGD are pulling a Swifty here.
Wow, you taking Magical Journey very early into this match. Already going towards the Tri-Brush here, trying to see what they can do. They started a lane swap. It's not a lane swap. Yes, it is. Myron actually going to go in, flashes in, gets the stun, looking to take it down low. He's got the Ignite ticking. First blood goes over to you. What a cheeky invade from LGD.
That was very cute stuff. LGD, I question where they're about to go now. That means LGD's bottom lane has to be on the top side. And that, of course, puts the lane swap into effect. What a clever but unusual strategy. I have only seen that once, and I believe that was in a wildcard game.
IWCA.
Yeah.
Well, LGD already off to a great start. Myron, the top lane, is going to be able to take 2 jungle camps away from himself. Yu is going to be assisting him as we do see a lane swap initiated by LGD, sending the AD carry and support up into the top lane.
And he's doing it solo as well with the Bard because they don't need Bard in the top side of the map. They've got Amy farming the jungle by himself, so it's a full experience clear. Myron will probably only take the 2 small ones, you would imagine.
He was eyeing it. It looked like he wanted it. He
taking...
still is looking to eye it.
Oh, come on, Myron.
You got to hit that.
So the flip side to this, like yes, that actually slowed Myron down by a small amount. They're going to want to push top lane now as a trio. The question is, how well has Imp set up the lanes? And how well have Vici done on the flip side? Because now the tower taking is the most important part.
Let me take a look at the map really quickly. Rek'Sai, he's already taken away his red buff, moving towards the Scuttle Crab and possibly blue buff.
Myron.
Oh, Myron, what have you done?
You need to calm down, buddy.
Possibly blue buff on the side of Vici jungle, which he's already working on. Another big thing, LG were able to send Kindred back to base, so a slow start for Kindred inside of her jungle, which means we only have the top laner AD carrying support working on the bottom turret for LGD. Of LGD's turret, sorry, for Vici.
Yeah, so reasonably similar, I will say. Maybe not in terms of timing once we move past this, but that is such a big wave for Vici that ideally, like both of these teams should push through. I mean, the question to me is the difference between them both, and the first step is Amy placing that deep ward. Or if he doesn't, then they should push through.
Oh, Long trying to deny as much CS as possible while taking down this turret. It's going to live for one more wave, as we do see the top lane turret will fall down in favor of LGD and already going back to base, trying to make a quick swap over. They should be sending AD carry and support down into the bottom lane now. And
one of the other important things that actually went a bit wrong for LGD is that you want your top laner to be healthy, because you need him to stay, clear that wave, and then push out. Flip side being that Vici took a little bit too long to get the turret, and so Long doesn't control the wave. This one will probably push a bit larger and give more time to perhaps the Bard, if it came down to it, for a roam near the middle lane.
And we see now he's even heading back to base as we take a look at the mid lane. Easy Hoon up here against Punish. Punish so far is getting punished by Easy Hoon. He's down about 10 CS here very early on into this game. 2 isolated mid laners going back and forth against one another.
Yeah, Punish has religiously found himself falling behind. I don't know how he always manages to do this, but in every single lane that we see him, even in matchups that should go probably even, he is behind. LGD really struggling through their middle lane. This is why I think Amy is actually quite important, and that a lane swap is almost detrimental if he can't get a cheeky gank off.
We see LGD, they've swapped back down into the bottom lane, sending Imp and Yu down here. Whereas Vici, they're content with keeping Caveman and Endless in this bottom lane still, instead of sending Lung up into the top lane once again.
Yeah, so they've gone towards the standard lanes as of their own decision. LGD being standard and being broken in that respect. And I think what we're about to see is junglers collide.
Amy and Dandy both up in this top lane right now. Parallel Convergence going down from Myron here, taking a little bit of damage from Lung. Doesn't get the Parallel Convergence stun here. The Trundle Pill has been put down. Lung is out of mana, and here comes Amy. Dandy actually heading back to base, decides to cancel that recall. Now going to jump out of the bush here. Myron looking to see if he can jump in somehow, but Dandy, he's being the aggressor here. Smite comes out from the Rek'Sai to slow him down. Just both junglers going to show their face and make them back off.
Yeah, so the major advantage is Amy having extra items so that he can Chilling Smite. Otherwise, things could have been different. Dandy not getting his recall in effectively just yet. And then once again, because Vici were being reactive in that respect. But really good jungle sense from Dandy to be there, looking for the aggressive maneuver, even though his top laner had the big stack of minions.
Well, we just took a look at the bottom lane just then, and taking a look at the items really quickly. Endless, he's picked up a tier for himself already on his first back. So we take a look at the side of him. He's only got a cull for himself, so sitting on a little bit of gold right now.
Yeah, a tier, of course, not actually a big power spike. Well done from Amy, Jesus.
Steals it with his sense.
Yeah, Prey Seeker too
Prey
strong.
Seeker.
Dandy still having not recalled is a big waste of time. Once again, what he should have done is after that trade in the top lane, gone back to base, but I think he got greedy for a mark.
And Amy's setting him even further behind, it seems, for now. He still hasn't left his jungle just yet. As Easy Hoon almost gets ganked there by Yu, just casually sidesteps the Bard's stun coming in.
Yeah, one of the few things a Bard can do, however, is Imp wanted to recall, wanted to get his next part of the item build, and as such gives time. Because rule of thumb for supports is usually don't just sit in that bottom lane and watch the minions die.
Imp has picked up those two long swords for himself. As we move back towards the top lane, Long up against Myron here. Long is currently sitting 20 CS behind this Echo, should be able to close it up a little bit more with the CS underneath his turret, but Not a great position in terms of CS for that top laner.
Yeah, but he'll absolutely start closing the difference between the two. Amy's now in the bottom lane with you.
They're looking for a gank here. Endless has to arcane shift forward. Flash already came out from the Karma. Now Endless is going to flash spell. Teleports coming down to the bottom lane as well. Marinus here to secure that kill, but it's going to be Amy that picks up the kill.
Yeah, but very well timed from LGD if they look towards the dragon as a take. It is the Mountain Drake, so it takes an awful long time to kill if they want it. End result, though, successfully done from the jungle support of LGD, and this is proactive stuff already.
Amy looking for another gank here. Dandy actually had to blow his flash rather early there. Marin gets a nice slow down. The stun does come out from Easyhood as well as the ultimate. Just going to get them down a little bit low, and is able to save his jungler. That gives LGD even more control.
So much damage comes out of the Chaos Storm. For what it's worth, Punish now has a slight edge in the middle lane and will likely force Easyhoon's recall due to his mana pool. The Drake, though, they still don't want it.
LGD opting not to start on that. Punish, like you mentioned, was able to knock Easyhoon out of the lane. Gives him a little bit more time to try and catch up in farm. He's about 10 CS behind still. So, evens out the top side of the map, which is about 6 CS behind in favor of Marin at the moment.
And that is unfortunately all Punish is going to get also. A slight catch-up play where he'll want to recall towards his Rod of Ages sooner rather than later. Remember, Swain has some pretty decent item spikes and gets harder and harder to kill as the game progresses. The 1-3-1 always going to be the ideal scenario for LGD. If they can get more than one person to deal with Punished, he's pretty much going to be content with that because he's a Swain.
We've seen how difficult that can be for Swains to get dealt with. A lot of Swains up in the top lane able to heal out even in the event of a jungle gamp. You here trying to be a little bit cheeky, leashing out that blue buff. We saw Danny try to take this one earlier, but now it's going to be in control of LGD, and they're going to be able to take this one down.
Yeah, and even giving it to Mara, and very smart reactive play once again from the LGD roster. Showing marked improvements at 9 minutes in the game from their first week. Of course, the response is always present from Vici. And Dandy, very strong jungler. Easyhoon, of course, having such control available to him in this middle lane. Able to walk over there freely.
Dandy's been falling behind a little bit in the jungle as well. He's about 10 CS behind Amy. Amy's definitely been the more proactive jungler. The level 1 gank did set the Kindred behind a little bit. But Amy, you know, stepping out of the jungle now. We criticize this a lot about him, and he's had a pretty big impact on this game so far.
Well, we gave him one job. So he didn't do the one job in week number 1. Coming into this first game of week 2, it was like, just gank, man. Like, just get yourself on the map.
Well, he's tied up with Dandy, I believe, now. 100% gank rate.
We also told Marin to maybe do something. Because ideally, if Punished is losing lane, that's something they should have recognized after the first week and said, okay, how do we deal with this? We get Swiftness Boots on Echo as a first item. We make sure that he's never in lane fighting the Trundle, because it's not too fun. We just control through a lane swap. Move around the map and force Vici to respond.
And speaking of Punish losing lane here, it's happening once again in game 1 against Vici's. Now 30 CS behind Easyhood. So
he's not dying.
He's not dying, but did have a slight catch-up, but he's still falling very far behind in CS.
But he's not dying.
That's the main thing?
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't die, it's okay.
Absolutely is actually the main thing. Funnily enough, that's what they need right now. Remember, IMA against LGD. What we saw was Bamey kill him once or twice solo. All he needs to do is defuse that lane. Remember, he's always going to be a Swain. And as the game progresses and he finds CS, even if he's behind, it still makes him harder to kill. Easyhoon will do a lot of damage, still going to be a fragile character.
He's going to head back to baseball and possibly pick up some more items. LGD, they've had control over this Mountain Dragon pit for some time now, opting not to even look at it so far, just letting it sit there, you know, mellow for a bit.
Yeah, I think it's once again they're moving around the top side of the map. They haven't looked towards the Rift Herald either though, which is the curious thing. Being nearly 12 minutes into this one. I think LGD actually feeling quite content with just an extended laning phase, actually getting farm on their carries. They know, as we mentioned, that Punished would work out fine in the end. Myron's doing well. Imp is doing surprisingly well thus far. And gives a lot of time and movement and breathing room, essentially, for you to be Brad on the map.
We'll have to see if he can continue picking up his chimes and roaming out in the map a little bit more. Let's take a look at Danny. He's taking away his Raptor Cam. Has the Raptor Sense. Going to be able to clear out some of the wards here. Move back down towards the bottom lane. Sivir yet to go back to base. Still sitting on those 2 long swords, whereas Endless, he's already picked up a Sheen for himself.
So both teams actually know the other jungler's there through vision. And this is actually going to be quite a confusing series of events if they choose to fight, which they don't.
Magical Journey just gets them out to safety.
There's proper don't. You can see the rubble actually revealed where Amy was seen.
Moving up into the top lane once again, the deficit is evened out slightly between Marin and Long here. In fact, Long catching up nicely is now completely even up in this top lane.
Yeah, as we said, there was a big wave stacking towards him when he was about the 10 to 15 CS mark behind. He was naturally going to catch up. Things do definitely settle. Once again, we're looking at a Trundle, however, into that Echo, who is going towards the split push build. These two just really love using that wall.
This really feels like something Endless and Caveman would do. You know, push out the lane, run away. Push out the lane, run away.
That's what they're both doing, though, and that's the funny thing. Like, junglers don't need to look down there because AD carries and supports a sharing strategy. It's just like, clear a wave, get some farm onto your carry, look for a quick recall so that you're safe because you don't need to place vision then, you're just recalling. And then perhaps look towards ganking topside, mid lane. You never know when a swap's going to happen when this continues also. And that almost favors, to an extent, I'm going to say LGD, because if they just recall, appear on the top lane, and they trick Vici, there's no turret to take for them. It's already gone.
We'll move back into the mid lane one more time here. Still a huge advantage for Easy Hoon. He's about 40 CS now ahead of Punished here in the mid lane, slowly falling even further and further behind, but like you mentioned, not dying, which is the main thing. We can take a look at the items really quickly as well. Victor, he's picked up his Onion Boots of Lucidity, does have the needlessly large rod as well to the Rod of Ages of Swain so far. Also, Cinderhawk being picked up by Amy in the jungle.
Yeah, remember, Boots of Lucidity reducing summoner spell cooldown. If he's towards the Resolve tree in Masteries, he'll have a pretty much constant uptime on Flash and Ghost, which is very handy for team fighting. Movement, which still feels like that's the direction Vici are looking towards. LGD very much content to just get there as well, as the Swain started scaling with his items.
Wow. Endless stunned up in the bottom lane. You landing a nice stun, as Amy has now started working on this. A Mountain Dragon, 14 minutes into the game. Punish is going to come down here as well, pop down the bird and get some decent damage down onto it as well. But Rek'Sai should be able to clear this one out. Unless something funky happens, it should be first dragon of the game going on over towards LGD.
Yeah, no Ezreal ultimate for a steal and nobody really nearby to do that themselves. They'll successfully secure this one. No troubles at all. We'll see how Vici react though, knowing that on the bottom side of the map is a Rek'Sai.
In 6 minutes, at 21 minutes into this game, Cloud Dragon will spawn for these two teams. We'll have to see if LGD continuing pressuring these dragons and trying to pick up more objectives for themselves. About 15 minutes in, and LGD do have a slight lead at the moment, about 1,500 gold in their favor. One turret for each of these two teams, and the Dragon going on over towards LGD.
And it's already hit that point in the top lane where Trundle's starting to biff with Marin. Really give it to him and out-trade him.
He's got his Tiamat, also the Spectrus Cowl now, so picking up components of his core item builds. On the flip side, we see Marin, he's got his Balmy Cinder, and also the workings of an Iceborne Gauntlet for now.
Yeah, and Ravenous Hydra Spirit Visage, most importantly for the Trundle, is where he can fight either Echo or Swain. Like, he's actually very much available to do these things because of the magic damage heavy team composition that they're running for split pushes for solo lanes. And this could actually start to become an ever-present issue for the LGD side as we move forward into this game.
We'll have to see if that takes place, because take a look at Vici's lineup. Long is the only one with teleport here. LGD, both Marin and Punish have their teleports up and available. We've only seen one teleport come in so far in this game. That was down into the bottom lane. Easy Hoon actually losing that trade against Punish in the mid lane.
Yeah, rule of thumb is just don't get hit by the never move from Swain, and you should be fine. But he got hit by it looking for a minion.
So he's not fine.
He got baited by a minion, basically. And
outsmarted.
That's why he got out-traded.
Now Amy actually looking to try and create some havoc down in the bottom lane. Is spotted out by a ward. And another.
And another one. And another one.
Well, if he moves any more further, there is going to be another one.
Wards everywhere. Of course, Vici have actually decided they want their top laner down here, Long. He's quite strong still.
Yeah, as you mentioned, this time Vici the ones that opt to go for the swap. We saw LGD, they initiated 2 swaps in this game. First, sending AD carry support up to the top lane.
They've already reacted though, LGD. The immediate recall out of Imp, you would imagine, goes top lane. They've got Marin already walking through the middle lane. But, oh, it's on.
Lands it. No follow-up just yet.
There'll be no follow-up.
There's the parallel convergence, not going to land there. So a little bit of miscommunication, but Nice tempered fake coming from Bard.
Yeah, absolutely. A communicational disconnect between both of the teams. Not entirely sure what he's going for there. The idea was decent. Amaran was not even close.
Now we're going to see these two teams fight over the risk cuddle. It seems you actually taking a lot of damage from this Kindred. Has to flash out of there, but Easy Who, he got locked down, taking a lot of damage. Here's a teleport from the top lane, no long. Going to try and start this fight. Teleport being used in response coming from Marin, but so far, just both teams trying to back off from this fight. Actually, a cancelled teleport from the Echo.
Yeah, so Marin cancels his teleport, but Lung follows through, which means numbers advantage is there. And if they choose, they can look towards pushing the top lane as a unit.
But Endless
yeah.
was being really aggressive there. Arcane Shift right on top of him.
They
now actually
dive.
going to dive the turret here. Dandy going to go aggressively forward. Endless flashes forward on top of him. Takes a lot of damage. There goes the ultimate coming in from Kindred, trying to keep himself alive. Amy dealing a lot of damage in this fight. Dandy's still alive. It's going to be taken down by Swain. And Punish actually picks up a double kill.
Yeah, Punish very quickly gets there. Remember, teleport of his own, gets 2 kills for himself. And that now puts him ahead in this middle lane. Already had a bit of control starting to come back towards him in the way of trading, as Swain does with his items. Thankfully, farm value still in favor of Easy Hoon, but LGD, they're the ones to reactively find themselves kills. When Vici say, we can do this, they absolutely couldn't.
And LGD slowly growing a nice gold lead for themselves as well. They're now 2,500 gold ahead of Vici. About 20 minutes into this game. 2 more minutes until the next dragon will spawn to where LGD could possibly force another team fight.
Yeah, LGD. We'll see how confident they feel after that, however. It is only 2 kills. We do have a 1-0-2 Rek'Sai, however, when they have 4 on the board. So, all things considered, I think they'll be feeling confident. The momentum has definitely shifted towards them after that.
And you mentioned as well earlier, you know, Vici, they lack engage coming to these fights. LGD, the way that they want to win these fights is to just run straight at Vici.
Yeah, the engage from Vici is just like run at them with damage until they die. And there's always going to be opportunities for turnaround from LGD. So we're looking at these team compositions. That's absolutely just the way that it kind of works out, depending on how it starts.
Well, we're going to have to see if the gold lead that LGD has helps them out as we head further and further into this game. But for now, bottom turret has been taken down by LGD. Currently 2 turrets to 1. Vici, on the other hand, looking to see if they can take down the top lane turret, outer turret to return the favor. Endless and Caveman actually going to get knocked away from this turret by Marin. Pots down that parallel convergence. So for now, structural advantage going on over towards LGD.
Yeah, so they pick up the Iceborne Gauntlet on Marin. He's got enough wave clear to deal with them because LGD actually pushed quick enough. They get themselves a slight edge. The question is where they actually react to from here, because Vici can't afford to keep their marksman support duo in the top side. They'd lose the dragon.
And looking at those items really quickly, you see Rek'Sai picked up a Tiamat, has that Sight Stone for the extra vision as well. Swain has the Abyssal Scepter on top of that Rod of Ages. Sivir completing the Essence Reaver, looking for her first Zeal item, already has the Zeal picked up as well. LGD, you know, have some decent items for this next dragon if there's going to be a fight.
Yeah, they definitely do. I think it's safe to say they've spiked. They've also got Endless up here for no particular reason, and I still don't know why he is here.
Taking a lot of damage. Parallel Convergence goes down. Endless not going to stay on top of that one now. Actually trying to go and recall. Meanwhile, down on the bottom side of the map, Amy's going to be taking away the red buff. In fact, tunnels over the wall and starts working on this Cloud Dragon. Already taken down quite low here. No contention coming out from Vici. They're just going to concede another dragon.
And I will say slight edge to LGD simply because of the item build that the Rek'Sai's gone. Oh, nice dodge.
Good dodge coming from Easy Who. Pops the Ghost, just runs the complete opposite way there. Now just going to casually move on towards the Scuttle Crab.
When you're on the way, you know, halfway through a journey.
Drive-by Scuttle Crab.
This still should not be happening. I know that Trundle doesn't have teleport, but the Drake's been taken. Recall now, put your Ezreal on the top side of the map. But they just really desperately want this turret. They want to open the map up for the Trundle to work it.
We have to see if they can do that, because there's still 3,000 gold behind LGD 21 minutes into this game. We also saw Ocean Dragons, the next dragon to spawn, so no concentrated dragons for LGD here. But Marin's still happy to take them on 2-on-1 at the moment, forcing Ezreal to constantly Arcane Shift, farming out this wave, keeping it away from his turret, most importantly. LGD looking really strong so far.
Yeah, but LGD have also put their top side of the map now having Imp and Yu here. So they answer. And we'll see how they respond on the side of Vici. Feels like they just don't want to fight. They actually don't want the 2v2.
Taking a look back in towards this mid lane again, we see Punish. He's actually caught up a little bit in CS in this mid lane. Still about 30 behind, but with those 2 kills, looking promising here against Vici.
Yeah, definitely. Punished. Kind of stepping up to the plate this time around. They've reassessed. I've always thought Punish was a decent player. He just kind of didn't show up in the first week, so it's always good to see. See how he actually continues when it comes to team fighting. Hello.
Deep teleport actually coming in for the side of Vici. Already taken down by Danny in this early team fight. Teleport actually going to get cancelled by Maro, so Vici find a way to put themselves back onto the scoreboard.
They want Imp desperately.
They're going to try and chase him down. Long already putting down a pillar. Unfortunately not going to knock him backwards, but still slowing him down. Flashes forward, gets the chomp off. Teleport's actually coming in for Punish up in the top lane. Amy's here as well. Long taking up the turret. Gets stopped by the Never Move. Punish is now taking a heap of damage as the Chaos Tour has been put down onto the Swain as well, but he will successfully defend the tower and defend Imp's life.
Yeah, he is a Swain after all, so he presses that R key and everybody walks away happy, if maybe not healthy. Vici Gaming, however, still pursuing this fleeting illusion of a top lane turret. They just desperately want, but LGD constantly getting the better end of this. And that to me just says Respondent with no real strategy. His Caveman's probably dead.
He is dead. Imp's going to be able to take you down with ease there. That was a little bit of misplay as Temper Fade's going to come out, not going to be able to connect with Endless, who casually Arcane shifts out of there.
Yeah, 4 members of LGD on the top side, and Marin without teleport still gets the bot lane turret. And again, a lot of resources used, a lot of resources effectively wasted by our blue team.
And that puts LGD approximately 4,000 gold ahead of Vici at the moment, 24 minutes into this game.
They want the... Oh, wow.
Here's another
Amy,
gank going onto the Endless, but Amy's going to take a lot of damage in return as Dandy's now going to jump forward and try and find some damage in return. Taking some damage as well, takes the magical journey. One auto attack's going to be off the laser from EasyHoon, going to snipe him away. And he's been picked off quite a few times here.
Yeah, EasyHoon puts in work to get that kill. Max range laser. And that is strike 1 for LGD because the Hoon's on the board. Myron has decided that he's going to pursue a career as a stonecutter. I was going to say lumberjack, but they're not made out of wood.
Might want to swap over to Master Yi for that job, Myron. He's been hunting down these turrets left, right, and center as Dandy. He's actually going to find Myron inside of this jungle. Power Converge does go down, doesn't stun him up, but gives himself a shield. Instead, though, Dandy will be able to take the red buff away from Amy.
Yeah, and Vici's starting to turn up that tempo. You can feel it through their carries as well. Dandy now doing a lot of damage with his 2 big items. Remember the epic monster shred that comes with every single Kindred at the moment, getting Blood Razor.
And you know, this Vici lineup doesn't look like a team that's currently 3,000 gold behind LGD. They're still playing towards their gameplay and trying to stay in this match at the moment. They're doing a pretty good job of that. Finally, this top lane turret will fall down, which, you know, gets one more structure back for Vici. Now 2 to 3 in terms of turrets.
Yeah, kind of fitting towards their strengths at the moment, thinking that they are further ahead and even forcing their hand. I do want to quickly touch on Amy's item build because I do believe that that is the most efficient Rek'Sai build at the moment. Stack that health, still have damage to kind of compensate for your tankiness that is forced. And plenty of wave clear from that Cinderhulk that now does more damage. And by having Sightstone, bringing it back to a vision-heavy early game, something that was sorely missed for a lot of junglers as we kind of hit past that Worlds patch into preseason.
So what's next for Amy? Stack up a lot of resistance going into the late game?
Yeah, you could go resistance, absolutely. Nice work, Caveman.
Takes it away.
Good job, mate. Fantastic. You had one job, man.
Well, Myron's still doing what Myron's done this entire game. Look to try and take down as many structures as possible. Finds another turret up in the top lane this time round.
And Cheeky Devil's everywhere that he knows that Vici isn't. Basically what Myron's executing on at the moment, but sets up vision, you know, in advance. Everything kind of still playing to the LGD strategy. They've got Imp who can teamfight, who can wave clear with the rest of them.
And Imp's got his Phantom Dance as well as a BF Sword, looking for his next major AD carry item. Take a look at the rest of his team. We can see Swain looking to try and pick up his Zhonya's Hourglass. Myron up in the top lane on Echo, has his Sunfire Cape. Probably going to pick up a Spirit Visage next as he has that Spectre's Cowl. Aegis of the Legion also being picked up by Yu, so assisting with the extra magic resistance for the rest of his team, as Dandy going to be able to hop away from the Never Move from Swain, keep himself alive.
Yeah, he does hop away, if not barely, but it's only going to be a bit of damage placed as We finally see a Drake contested by Vici.
Vici look to try and take this one down. You try and see if you can find anything inside this pit, but Dandy and Endless going to be able to shift out of there as we see the next dragon to spawn will be another Mountain Dragon.
It'll be very important that Vici look towards that one as we're now at the 27-minute mark. They want it for the Baron control, but LGD wanted to have more Baron control as well as that turret taking for Marin. You would imagine that that's exactly where the next fight will break out if nothing were to happen prior.
LGD have been doing a really good job of splitting up their resources.
Punished.
He's now in this bottom lane. Oh, we're just going to farm out these minions.
Yeah,
he
should be.
We've seen him, separated from the other teleporter map. Marin's been roaming around trying to cause some havoc to the rest of the structures in Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, which means they're now looking towards that 1-3-1 strategy. Naturally, as we said, Siva's got the wave clear. Bard can keep him alive, and Amy is still a pretty big tank. So as far as the 3-man roster goes, not too bad of a strategy to execute on, and we are starting to see it put into effect. So we're hitting the go button for the LGD team comp.
The big spike for Endless at the moment. He's picked up his Mirror Manus, and that's fully stacked with the Iceborne Gauntlet. He also has a Hex Drinker with the Onion Boots of Lucidity, and the Executioner's calling to try and deal with Punished, it seems.
Yeah, not a lot of damage coming out of Endless at the moment. He'll do his fair share, but it's not hyper carry amounts, and that's kind of the cool thing about Vici's team composition is they all do their share of damage. At the end of the day, as long as they're all alive, they're all going to be relevant.
Yeah, on top of that, Easy Hoon, he's upgraded his items towards a Rylai's Crystal Scepter as well as a Void Staff, so lots of damage coming out of that Victor. Dandy, he also mentioned, doing his share of damage with his Hurricane as well as the Blood Razor picked up for his team. On the flip side, Zhonya's has finally been completed by Punish, so if you thought Swain was annoying before, he's just going to get even more obnoxious now.
Yeah, close to impossible to kill now, this Swain. And you did kind of read my mind by saying the Rylai's. What we've seen from the Ezreal by having like a middle ground between damage and sustain or tankiness is being matched by every single member of Vici Gaming. They're effectively a 5-bruiser composition. And we'll try and all do their part. But if a piece of that puzzle is a bit disconnected, which is going to be forced if LGD can run the 1-3-1, then they might be left respondent.
Staying on items for a little while as well, we can see Imp just went back to base. He's picked up his Infinity Edge, so a major power spike for the Boomerang Lady.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, I think the Baron's now going to be a contested point. You can see the Vision starting to be set up also. All of the means are now there for this Baron with the items that have secured.
Punish looking to try and find a Never Move on towards Caveman. That's Marin looking for a flank. He's trying to go underneath this turret. Easy and actually flashes away immediately. Marin getting a lockdown, but the turret gets fallen. Pops his ultimate, goes back in towards the team, but Dandy, he's been caught trying to stay on top of his ultimate. Not going to be enough as Amy picks up that core. Endless is going to take a lot of damage. It's the Temper Fate not going to find anyone. The birds are still hunting him down as Marin going to get taken down the backlines. Long, he's in here trying to take them down as Punish is in stasis. Will eventually go down so long as he chases him down. Amy is able to find Endless in the backlines, but Vici looking strong in this fight so far. Long wanted to continue. He still is chopping down on both the Rek'Sai and the Sivir. Here's you though. Doesn't get the start on Easy Hoon. Has to use the magical jetty. Here comes him. Goes forward. Finds Easy Hoon, but Long is able to get the chomp down. And Easy Hoon picks up that kill. Magical jetty though, not good, as Yu's going to be able to stun him against the wall. And it's a 3-for-3 so far in this extended team fight.
And we've seen the shades of what both of these teams actually want to execute upon. Phase 1, LGD need to engage. They're the ones with the engage and the crowd control. They look for that turret. Of course, it does fall, so that slight edge always going to be there. But Vici wants them to walk at them. And that's exactly what happens. And you can see how that backfires. Trundle is never going to die. Endless put in work as well. And Easy Hoon just worked around those choke points fantastically.
We saw a massive Chaos Storm as well from Easy Hoon, dropping down to 4 members. That shows with the damage dealt in that team fight, he doubles anyone else in his team. So did him, to be fair. Played that team fight pretty well until flashing into 3 people at the end.
I mean, Dandy as well, like starting the fight off by himself, getting caught out a little bit, still worked out because he did 2,500 damage. Just pop the Lamb's Respite, you hit people with more health than you, you're going to shred them. And that played a big part as well, in at least starting off that successful team fight.
So as Easyhoon takes his blue here, gives us time to take stock at where this game is at. A minute till Dragon spawns. That will be the second Mountain Dragon of the game. Currently, Vici have 1 Dragon. LGD have 2 at the moment. That's 54,000 to 57,000 gold in favor of LGD, with 3 turrets to 5 also being taken in favor of LGD. Since that last team fight, lots of items have come in here for both teams. Looks like Easyhoon, he's picked up a Negatron Cloak, looking towards a Lich Bane as his next item. I know Spawn really likes this pickup on Victor, so we'll have to see if Easyhoon can, you know, do some work with the Lich Bane pickup.
I think most importantly, he has his Void Staff already, so in terms of item order, the Lich Bane's going to make him a magnificent carry for the side of Vici.
We already saw how much damage he dealt in that last fight. It's just going to get even more and more, and Easyhoon, he's known to be the late game king, the late game monster. So Vici more than happy, it feels, to take this later and later into the match.
Yeah, and thankfully Endless as well, because we were looking at a Swain saying, where's your Ignites? Caveman, of course, needing one. They've got the Last Whisper upgrade. I forget if it's the Lord Dominic's or the Mortal Reminder. Yeah, that's the one. The reduction of healing one.
So now Dragon has spawned, and it does look like Vici want to try and take control of this pit. Rift Scuttle, though, did fall for LGD, so they have complete vision control as Endless trying to start this initiation onto Punish, actually shifting forward as Punish now going to try and turn things around. There comes the Temper Fate, but Punish can't heal off the Members in stasis, has to pop the Zonias of his own. Marin trying to dive in towards the backlines as Dandy, he's getting taken out low. Amy trying to zone him out. Long trying to move into the front of the team fight, taking some damage in return. Chaos Storm going to be able to take down Marin as Endless goes forward. Now they're looking for Amy, should be able to take him down. Guardian Angel and the ultimate pop by Marin here, but doesn't heal at all from that one, and then just slowly chasing LG down. They pick up 3 kills in that fight, and they turn their eyes towards Baron.
And a team without crowd control just makes their own. They have Endless with the Iceborne Gauntlet, the Rylai's on Easyhoon, and just like that, the damage starts to become unreasonable. They get themselves 3 big kills, and if they want to stop this Punish and Imp, they have to pull the rabbit out of a hat.
Well, let's see what they can do, because this Baron's falling incredibly low already. Punish looked like he wanted to move in towards the pit. Smartly, Imp and him will be able to back off, but that's a major objective going on towards Vici, and they take the lead in this game for the first time, 34 minutes into it.
Yeah, absolutely right. They've got themselves that lead. We are going to see this one again. Pretty impressive, to say the least, from Easyhoon with the Chaos Storm placement. The awareness to actually hit people the entire time that he's using that Chaos Storm. As you can see the player reactions down the bottom whilst they're winning this fight. Very impressive stuff. Oh, Dragon as well, just taken.
Yeah, it falls to Amy, so Amy's able to pick up that one for his team. So 2 Mountain Dragons for LGD so far. As we take a look at the damage dealt in that last team fight. Victor, you mentioned already, big Chaos Storm from him one more time. Easyhoon's been playing so well in this match. Yeah,
gets a kill and pops a GA at the exact same time with the residual pulses that are left at the end of a Chaos Storm. Talk about dropping the base. That was dubstep.
Wop, wop, wop. It's Dandy trying to be a nuisance up against Marin in the top lane. He's going to be able to take away some of his jungle. He's here, he's just taking down him with the help of Long, just casually diving past the inhibitor turret.
It is what it is at this stage. Remember, Lich Bane is absolutely completed, so his combo with even a laser and a Q is enough to get you low. Just drop the ult one more time, and goodbye, Imp. Potentially good night, LGD, if this continues like it is.
Yep, Vici now grouping up to the top lane, looking to try and push down that turret. They swung the gold in their favor. Endless, Arcade shifting forward on top of Marin, putting down a lot of damage onto the top laner. Baron Converge is going to be put down in front of the turret, trying to zone the rest of the members of LGD. They're still pushing forward. There's no Imp, so not much wave clear for LGD's lineup. Punish has to put his face into it if he wants to get these minions away from the turret. Slowly poking down even further. Baron up minions, doing a lot of work as Vici find the turret. Now looking towards a fight. Punish is going to get slowed down here, but Vici, eyes set on towards the objectives, looking for the inhibitors. Dandy takes a little bit of poke in return, but they should be able to take this one down. Imp, though, going to pop on the hunt. Here comes Amy, jumps into the back lines. Long, though, on top of the AD carry. Marin now jumping into the back lines. Dandy has to put down his ultimate. Going to be a heal him in Endless back up. Looking to try and restart this fight as Marin taking a bit of damage. True Shot Barrage clips Imp there. There goes the Temper Fate from you, but he's going to get taken down as soon as he comes back up here as Caveman takes that kill for himself, and Vici find another good team fight.
And it's not going to be the game for Vici, but LGD are the ones with a defiant turnaround play that absolutely backfires once again. They've got crowd control, they've got execution, but Yu uses his ultimate to try and keep Imp alive and maybe preserve himself for an extra 2 seconds. Only succeeds in exactly that because he goes down afterwards. And LGD really struggling when it comes to these team fights.
Let's just take a look at the gold graph that we see on your screen here. This was LGD's game, you know, from the very start, from first blood. They looked like the strong team here. They looked like the team with the strategy. They initiated a lane swap. They did a 1-3-1 for so long with Marin taking down all these objectives. But once Vici's team kiting comp came on online, they just took it to them, it feels.
I still feel like this just comes down to execution. Right now, we're looking at an item build from Imp that can't kill tanks. He's set himself up poorly for this as they've just found punished.
Endless flashing forward to get a Blade of the Ruined King proc off. Will be able to take down that swaying Vici, find another pick for themselves in the bottom lane.
No idea what he's doing that far out, and Punish does get caught for it. Once again, though, we're seeing Imp in teamfights where he can only hit Lung. Lung's never going to die due to that no armor penetration, and Yu's not helping him.
Endless standing in front of the towers as if he's a frontline member, trying to get the slows down, possibly help Vici start a fight due to their lack of crowd control. As Marin already taking half his health and Dandy in terms of damage as Dandy jumps over the wall, jumps back out through the base gate, gonna get knocked up by Amy, gets taken out quite low here by Vici. They have Lung in the backside, just casually chopping down him. There goes Dandy over the wall one more time, pops down his lane respite after the AD carry gets taken out. Marin now gonna pop his ultimate, try and get away here. Will be able to successfully run, but Vici, they've gone into the base of LGD, looking to try and take down more objectives, and Yu has to flash out of the Chaos Storm.
Yeah, and the Chaos Storm used as an afterthought here for Vici Gaming. Lung is just unstoppable. Dandy skirting around these fights very effectively. This does look like it could be game over.
Well, they're looking for it as Marin desperately trying to defend Punish. He's running back out with full health, trying to knock them away, but he's taking so much damage, can't heal up as much with the Mortal Reminder chipping it down. EasyHood finds a kill for himself. Amy trying to get towards his fountain as Marin is going to get taken down. His Guardian Angel going to allow him to revive one last time, but EasyHood has something to say to this Echo. Going to auto attack him a couple more times. Takes him down as they are able to take down the Nexus turrets, and now working on towards that Nexus. Vici are able to turn around game one and pick up the win.
A massive game one victory for Vici Gaming. EasyHoon did have one thing to say, and that was good night to Marin. Very impressive performance once it came to the late game. And executing on a team composition with lacking crowd control, but building smart, playing smart, and waiting until they were strong enough to just end that game through brute force and better team play. And once again, LGD, they just look like they are struggling.
Certainly do, and you know, big game from EasyHoon, great game from Vici as well, but I want to start off where the game started as well. LGD looked so strong to start that game off. They had a great strategy. They were taking turrets left, right, and center. They were ahead by 3,000 to 4,000 gold and controlling major objectives. What went wrong for them? Because Vici just suddenly turned the game around.
Yeah, they had a really good start, to be perfectly honest with you. And even this here was like one point where Vici thought they were further ahead than they were. The Swain was getting kills. They were getting these items. But once again, it just hit a point where LGD's strategy almost revolved around a 1-3-1 where they just couldn't get the perfect lane assignments. And there was no base left for them to get. There was no more free gold available. They had to team fight. LGD try and tower dive. This is a perfect laser, by the way. That tower dive is the one thing that went poorly, and this is the exact fight we're referencing.
This is the later parts of the fight where Vici were able to trade 3 for 3 and chase down the other members of LGD as well. The dive initiated by Marin was onto a turret that was almost dead, but still enough for Vici to fight them.
Yeah, but rotating that fight from the turret to this choke point against the Victor is asking to lose that game. Or to lose that particular fight, which became the game. Imp went ham, wanted the target, pays for it, and realistically, like LGD's dive started off well. It's all of that follow-up afterwards that really did backfire for them. This is another big catch. Again, we questioned their crowd control. It's available for Vici, but they just used what little they had impeccably.
And this felt like the nail in the coffin for me. Once this fight started for Vici, this felt like game over. And you know, you mentioned this at the start of the game. Vici, they are a team fighting team that lack engage, and they want LGD to run at them. That team fight that they dived under the turret was exactly what happened. LGD ran towards a 5-man Vici, And once that happened, they came online, they started that team fight that you just saw on your screens, and were able to just take the game from there, it felt.
Yeah, absolutely. From there, that was pretty much going to be the game. Momentum swung. The game was basically just a team fight away for them, and Vici execute on that. Chaos Storm, Victor, and Easy Hoon, all three things put together, probably should never be seen on Summoner's Rift again after that performance, because he just did so much work.
So that's one of the things I want to touch on as well. Easy Hoon in the mid lane, because he played fantastically in that match. Not only from the start, able to deny, punish a lot of CS, but also late game on that Victor. He's known for his Kragol mages. He's an absolute monster in that match.
Yeah, absolutely. Punished has notoriously been underperforming at the moment, but from what we saw of Easy Hoon, definitely felt like he was a confidence player that had all of that confidence behind him.
Well, let's see if we can continue doing that one as we head into game number 2 shortly. But first, we're going to go into a quick break, but we will be right back with more League of Legends.